Tonight for dinner, I made super fast and easy Taco Bell. We are having Crunchwrap and some nachos, and these are kind of the easiest to eat, cleanest nachos you'll ever have. I made them the way I ate nachos growing up, so they're kind of individual instead of just a big bowl of loose nachos. This entire thing probably only takes about 30 minutes from start to finish, and it is cheap and it's so easy to put together. It is also super easy to customize. You can put whatever toppings you want on it. I like to put tomatoes and onions, sometimes some pickled jalapenos or hot sauce and sour cream. And it's super family friendly. I've been eating this since I was a little kid. This is super kid friendly because it's a little bit fun, but it's not too messy. And if you guys want to see more of what we're having for dinner, don't forget to like and subscribe. The first thing we are going to do is just brown our ground beef. My pan is preheated. I'm going to add in just a little bit of oil. And then the ground beef will go straight into the pan. And I really like to use 85-15 ground beef. I try to do something a little bit leaner, but if you prefer 80-20 or even 75-25, definitely go with that. While our meat is browning, I'm going to go ahead and get started on the refried beans. I just use out of a can. This is a really easy and simple and quick meal. This is something that we have once every couple of weeks, and it's enough to give us leftovers. So it's simple, it's quick and easy. My favorite beans are the Rosarita smooth style beans. I think they're a little bit more like what you would get from a restaurant. But again, use whatever you would prefer here. And I've kind of got like a little trick that I do to spice this up a little bit. I'll break it up, and I'm just going to add in maybe 2 to 3 tablespoons of water to thin it out a little bit. And then the taco seasoning that I use is this Old El Paso. This is actually also a really easy seasoning to make. Garlic powder, onion powder, chili, maybe a little bit of cumin, some salt and pepper, but I'm not trying to do all of that, so I just like to use the packet. I'm using 1 packet for my meat, but I keep another packet in the pantry that I'm just going to take a teaspoon or 2 and mix it into my beans. It just gives a little bit more depth, I think, without a whole lot of effort, which is kind of the point. And they don't have to be super thin at this point. As they get heated up, they will get a little bit thinner. And if they're not as thin as I want, then I can always add a little bit more liquid. I am going to throw my spoon in this can and put this in the microwave for just maybe 2 or 3 minutes until it's all the way heated through. My meat is still cooking, so I've got a little bit of time left. I'm just going to cut up some toppings for these nachos. I really like tomatoes on mine. And I've got half an onion in the fridge, so I'm going to go ahead and cut up just a little bit of that as well. And then I'm going to set those aside, and I think my meat is actually just about done browning, so we're going to go check on that. All right, our meat is nicely browned, fully cooked all the way through, and I've got a few little crispy bits on the meat. I'm going to go ahead and add in my spice mix. And then I'm just gonna fill this up to about this much with water just to mix this in and let it cook together. If you add a little too much water, I think it's kind of okay because it will evaporate as this cooks. I'd rather have a little bit too much water than not enough. And this just has to cook together for 4 or 5 minutes and then it will be ready to go. Our taco meat is done. I'm actually just going to transfer this to a bowl so that we can start our assembly. And my beans, of course, are heated through as well. They are nice and thin, but still thick enough to kind of hold their shape. And we're actually making 2 things tonight. The first thing we are making is a Crunchwrap. This is probably just about the easiest thing in the whole wide world. I have this bag of tostadas that I use. And I can see about how big this is. I'm just going to put enough ground beef to cover about the size of the tostada in the tortilla. And then I'm just going to do a layer of beans on this. And then that's just going to go right on top. And then cheese. And I also am going to kind of use the cheese to seal this. If you don't have these really big tortillas, you might need to take 2 of them to kind of meet in the middle, but these giant ones actually do meet all the way around. And I put a little bit on each fold so that when it's in the pan, the cheese will melt and kind of seal it together. And I'm actually just going to keep this in this plate until I'm ready to put it in the pan. In the meantime, I'm going to show you the second thing I'm making is nachos. These nachos are a little different than what I see a lot of people do. These are, I just call these my mom's nachos because this is how my mom makes them. We usually use round chips, but this is what they had at the store, is the big triangle chips. So that's what we're using today. I just like to spread a little bit of refried beans on each chip. Just a thin layer, nothing crazy. And then I'll put a little bit of meat right on top of the beans. And I kind of like to crowd them together in the pan because the next part is the cheese. And this is where it gets fun. You get to add as much or as little as you want. My little sister would add all of it, but I don't like a whole lot of cheese, so I'm just going to do a little bit. I'm going to go throw this under the broiler for 30 seconds to a minute, just until the cheese melts. And I'm going to throw the Crunchwrap in my frying pan to melt the cheese and then get this kind of golden on both sides. So my pan is on medium and I'm actually just going to add a super small amount of oil. And then the Crunchwrap is just going to go folded side down to get that cheese melting to seal it. And this is probably only going to take 2 to 3 minutes per side. All right, it's been about 2 minutes. I'm just going to go ahead and flip that over. That cheese is melted. It's starting to brown a little bit. I'm just going to let it brown on the other side, probably another 2 minutes or so, and then this will be done. All right, that side is nice and brown. I'm going to let it sit on the cheese side for just about 30 more seconds, and then we will finish assembling our nachos. My nachos are done. I know they don't look super cheesy, but I just don't like a lot of cheese. If you like a lot of cheese, put more cheese. And I really like sour cream. And then I'm going to add some of my tomatoes and some onions. And this is, of course, another thing that's totally customizable. My dad would put black olives. You can put pickled jalapenos or fresh jalapenos, more cheese, whatever you want on these. I'm so excited for these. I haven't had nachos in a little while. Cheers. These just come together so quickly. It's so hard to not make this every once in a while. It's cheap, it's easy, it's got ingredients that you probably already have in your house. The taco seasoning is easy to make from scratch if you're not using a packet. This is just such a nice, realistic weeknight dinner. I think I'm going to add a little bit of hot sauce to this one. And of course, I'm just using Taco Bell hot sauce. This is basically Taco Bell food. Oh, that was a lot. And of course, the other thing I made is the Crunchwrap, another Taco Bell special. And this is another one that just comes together so nicely. It is easy and cheesy and delicious. And this also is fantastic with the Taco Bell hot sauce.